Hello, I'm Lauren with IndoorGardening.com, and today we're going to talk about the best plants for self-watering pots. Self-watering pots are actually pots that have a water reservoir in the bottom of them, and then they have a wicking system and have the water evaporate up and be wicked up into the root system of these plants. Certain plants like to dry out quite a bit and do not like to have this extra humidity and moisture around their root ball system. Other plants absolutely thrive in it. So we're going to talk about the ones that thrive in it today. First up, we have ferns. There are a variety of different kinds of ferns out there. Some of them like to be humid and have that extra moisture, and some of them don't. There are ferns out there that are desert ferns that are not going to want this extra humidity. There are ferns out there that will be more likely to rot if they have constant water at their root system and they need to dry out quite a bit. But certain ferns like maidenhair ferns, for example, even Boston ferns can handle a self-watering system and like to have that extra moisture there. Pretty much any fern with very thin leaves, as long as it's not a super thick chunky fern, is going to be perfectly fine sitting in a self-watering pot, and they're going to really enjoy that. Next we have Fittonia. Fittonia like to have quite a bit of light so that they can kind of spread out, but they also don't like to dry out very much, and their leaves are very thin. So if you don't have a lot of humidity, they're definitely going to love a self-watering pot to create that extra humidity around their root ball system to help them grow. They come in a variety of colors, so you can mix and match them or just have all of one color sitting in a pot. It's a very beautiful arrangement and very fantastic to see. Self-watering pots are fantastic for African violets because they don't like to have a lot of water on their foliage. They have very fuzzy foliage. If you don't have enough airflow, this water can sit on the leaves and then it can cause molds, mildews, rots, bacterial, fungal issue. It can cause a lot of different kinds of problems if they're top watered. So having a self-watering pot where they're actually watered from the bottom naturally and normally works out really well for them and helps keep them all nice and healthy. Another thing that it helps to do is keeps their root ball moist. They don't like to dry out very much. They are terrarium plants essentially as far as that goes. They like to have constant humidity and constant moisture. They just don't like to have water sitting on their leaves. So it's kind of a balancing game on their care depending on how you have them set up, and a self-watering pot really assists with that. Selaginella, also known as a peacock fern or club moss. They have a lot of different names they're going by out there. They are neither moss nor a fern, but they have very thin, very delicate leaves, and they cannot dry out. They do not like to dry out at all. They prefer a higher humidity. But if you can't give them the higher humidity, at least don't let them dry out. They can keep repopulating and repropagating themselves over and over again, provided that that moisture level stays there. So just don't let them dry out or the entire plant will pass on, unfortunately. But self-watering pot really helps with this, and it'll have that humidity evaporating up, and it'll constantly be able to create those aerial roots and constantly be able to propagate itself if you can just keep them moist with the self-watering pot. Another one that loves self-watering pots and to never dry out is pitcher plants and other carnivorous plants. They are bog plants majority of the time, so they like to be sitting in water. This is one where you could actually overfill the water reservoir and not just use a wicking system in your self-watering pots, and they would still be perfectly fine. They absolutely love to be sitting in water, and they absolutely hate to dry out. So this is really fantastic. It's really perfect. It gives you a couple extra days to kind of stretch out that watering time so that you're not having to water them every single day. They still like to be watered quite frequently. They still like the top of their soil to be moist or be topped with some type of moss, but this definitely helps trap that humidity in there, and not having them dry out will enable them to keep making their pitchers and flowering and just keeping themselves moist and giving them more of a natural environment. This may come as a surprise, but there's a whole bunch of different fruits and vegetables and herbs that all love to be grown in a self-watering system. A lot of the indoor gardening systems out there, like Click and Grow, will use a self-watering system. We have a whole video on setting up Click and Grow right here if you want to watch that. We are using the self-watering system to grow strawberries and lettuce and a polka dot plant, but they work out really well for a lot of different things. They have over 70 different varieties of plants that can grow in them, so that's a prime example of the different plants that you can have growing in a self-watering system. Basil and tomatoes are easy ones to get started and grow right in your home in a self-watering system as well. If you are not using self-watering pots, you are missing out. They are a fantastic tool and a fantastic system to use to grow anything that you would like to grow. And these are just a few plants to give you some ideas, especially friendly for beginners just getting into self-watering pots and learning how the systems work. Definitely give it a try. Be sure to check out indoorgardening.com for more information. We are always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!